Not Nerd Podcast, episode 366, Robot Exposure.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
The Not Nerd Podcast with Nate and Dave. For helpfulness or something.
We
tips.
need to unearth that. Yeah,
for tips and tricks, listen. Yeah.
The vocal version of our theme song is that was many a moon ago that we put that together.
It was good times, though.
Yes, it was. Well, let us move into some follow-up. I wasn't even going to talk about it this week, but just before we started recording via Twitter, I found some breaking news. SBF of FTX has been arrested in the Bahamas.
What?
And charged with all kinds of things. Now, he was supposed to testify in front of Congress or the Senate, the U.S. government tomorrow.
And did he, flee?
He's been in the Bahamas the whole time. He had told the government organization that he was supposed to testify in front of that he wasn't going to be able to make it. He was going to have to do it remote because he's got a pretty busy schedule.
Why? His company went under. What does he got to do?
Media appearances. I guess he went on a Twitter Spaces with this account Unusual Whales, which kind of tracks some of the political stock trading and some of that stuff.
Sounds like a fetish site.
Yeah. And he actually, somebody was saying that on that Twitter Space that he basically admitted it was all a Ponzi scheme. So I wasn't quite clear if the Bahamas are charging him or if the U.S. is charging him and had the Bahamas arrest him for extradition. So I don't know, but breaking news. By the time you hear this, it'll be 2 days old, but I was excited to talk about it for a second.
Wow, that guy.
Yes, indeed. And our other consistent story, the hashtag Twitter files. So last week we talked about the first dump about Hunter Biden's laptop and some of the discussion within internal Twitter systems, talking about how to block that, if they should block that. And I was saying last week when we recorded that they were supposed to dump some more, but we haven't seen them. And Elon said it was going to be a few days. Well, I mean, you can't write this stuff. They found out, one of the reporters, I think it was Barry Weiss, and Matt Taibbi is one of the other ones, and then I forget who has also done a release. They found out that the head of legal counsel for Twitter is a guy named Jim Baker.
Now, is this the disgraced
No,
Christian
I always have to think about him.
Okay.
This is the disgraced ex-FBI counsel that pushed a lot of stories and ended up resigning from the FBI, and then he was quickly hired by Twitter.
Of course.
So people were talking in the first Twitter files dropped. There wasn't a lot of talk about the FBI's involvement. Well, maybe because an ex-FBI lawyer who worked for Twitter was the one that was deciding which files got shared. He was reviewing everything before it went to the reporters. So they fired him on Tuesday. And then I think there's been 3 more Twitter file drops, a couple talking about the whole process they used to ban Trump from Twitter, and then some of the other stuff, but more coming. But it is just wild. And
what a mess.
As of today, December 12th, Twitter Blue is relaunching. And I actually got a notification because I, through the Twitter app on my phone, was able to sign up for Twitter Blue while it was live. I still have my blue check on there.
Blue, you're my boy!
But they sent me a notification.
Thank heavens.
Yes. The pricing is changing. If you do it through your iPhone, it'll be $11. If you do it through the web, it'll only be $8 because of the Apple App Store 30% charge.
And remind me, other than getting a blue check mark,
Yes.
It also gives you no ads. Is that correct?
I believe it's less ads. It gives you an edit button for up to 30 minutes. And it also does, whenever you go to tweet, it does like a 10-second timer to make sure you review your tweet, which is very nice. I'm very aware of reading a tweet, but I think there's a lot of people out there that could really use those few seconds to go, hey, did I spell everything correctly in this before you send? They're going to do higher quality video, and I forget what other features, but there's some more rolling out. So if you want Twitter Blue, and they've changed the check marks, so if you pay, it'll be a blue check. If you're like an official account for a business, I think
Isn't
you
it
get
gray?
I think that one's gold, and then government will be a gray check mark.
I want an orange one.
Yeah,
just to be cool. Yeah.
Pay $20 and get an orange, or any color of the rainbow.
Yeah. They
Why
ought to
not?
do that. I bet people would do it. That's a lot per month, though.
Yes. We haven't talked about this one for quite a while, but Uber Eats to pay millions for listing Chicago restaurants without consent. So we had talked about this at the time where this was happening in various places where Uber Eats would just put your restaurant in their app, charge a bunch of fees, and
You'd order something from Shake Shack down the road, and it would come, and Shake Shack didn't know anything about it. They were like, it's
so it
solely
wasn't
in our name, because if the service is bad, or the car gets there late, or the guy
fees are so high,
ate
and
half your sandwich.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah. So they're responsible for repaying $3.3 million with an M dollars to just Chicago restaurants that had been charged commissions over 15% in violation of the city's emergency fee cap ordinance. These companies, we talk about them all the time, and it's just like, how do they make any money? Oh, they don't.
No. They just take investors' money and line their pockets, and then it's going to crash one of these days.
True. And another item that we talked about that is finally officially announced, and we have a price. Remember the Dyson air purifying headphone?
Oh, do I?
Bane mask?
Makes you look like you're a character in the Overwatch video game or something.
Yes. Yeah. It's like a big set of like Beats headphones with this big old like thing that covers the air purifier. Now this is Dyson's first audio product. Sorry, getting a little emotional.
You always seem to get emotional over these things.
But yeah, one of the podcasts I listened to was trying to figure out who would buy these for $949.
I don't know anyone who would want to buy those for that.
I mean,
you and I are like targets for crazy tech things, and neither one of us are interested at all.
No, I mean, maybe if you lived in like a heavy populated and also heavily polluted city, but crazy story. And we kind of guessed this. We might have known it before, but Disney Plus raises price by $3, launches cheaper ad-supported tier. So the ad-supported tier is what you would pay last month for Disney Plus. So if you don't want the ads, your price goes up by $3.
It's so shady and disappointing.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they leave the price the same and offer an ad-supported for $5 or something like that? But we knew all along, and I think Disney even talked to their investors that they were planning on raising prices. Like, this was not a secret. This was a known thing that was coming. And it's just disappointing that it has come.
Yes. Well, you know what's not disappointing? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Well, and on a related note, let's say you wanted to go to the Disney Plus website and find something on the page of information. Let's say there's a big FAQ about all of the different services and everything, and you're like, I want to know what the price is, and I can't find it. Well, my friend, what you need to do is search within the web page, and that's this week's tip of the week on your iPhone. This is not something we really talk about much because I don't think people use it a lot. Maybe on their computer they do, but iOS users have the ability to search for content within the page right on their device. And I'm going to tell you how to do it.
Nice.
So I've tried it in a couple different browsers, and so it's not only Safari that this works. But if you open up your Safari web browser, which is what most people use, And this spans generations. I was trying it on an iOS 12 device, and we're on 16, so this goes back a ways.
Wow.
Let's go to Disney Plus real quick. Disney Plus. This is wonderful radio as we listen to me type things in on my phone. And so here I am. And of course, I get to their splash page here, and it's got all kinds of content. I mean, it's pretty long, and they've got a bunch of little drop downs near the bottom of the page that answer information for any questions that you might have. But as I look through this page, I'm going to find a word here, parental. I might be a parent and say, what are the parental controls? So in order to get to the defined content on the page is a little convoluted, so to speak. Everybody's familiar with the share sheet. That's the little square with the arrow that points up. So if you tap on the share sheet button, beneath the bar of icons, there's a list of applications and links and shortcuts and all kinds of things. There's one titled Find on Page. And in my area, there's it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down in the little section of which it lives in. And it's got a cutesy little icon with a piece of paper and a magnifying glass. But if you tap that, it takes you back to the web page you were just on and opens up a search field. And I'm going to type parental, and boom, it went right to that instance on the page of the word parental. If there are multiple words that match that, like I'm going to type in the letter and, I'm going to guess there's more than one and on this page. There are 13. And there's a little up arrow and down arrow, and I can scroll through all those instances of the word and on that page. So this is useful for those who are searching for content on long web pages on their phone, and they're just like, oh man, this is just out of hand. How do I find what I'm looking for? Well, you can easily do it with the Find in Page shortcut.
Very nice. Yeah, I always forget how to do that, and it's not very often I need it, but
I wish there were just a button that was like a magnifying glass that says search, or it's not in a very convenient place, but now you know how to find it. Maybe you'll use it more often.
Yes, I like it. Well, let us move on to our takes of the week. Apple this week decided that it was time to, or this past week, get all their news out so that they could be done for the holidays, it seems like. So we've got a bunch of stories from them. The first one, they are adding hundreds of new App Store price points as low as 29 cents.
I mean, it's weird that back when this started, 99 cents was the cap, and everybody kind of complained about it. Now, due to inflation and everything, 99 cents is just like whatever. And they're even going to go smaller, so I'm not exactly sure who's going to be selling items for less than $1 or why you would want to, but yes. How many different price points did they have?
I think it's going up to 900 price points, all the way up to $10,000. And
that was the other thing. Who's going to pay $10,000? You and I need to get together and make You Rich 2, the sequel, the little app.
Yes.
That apparently you just downloaded the Make Me Rich app, and it made you rich somehow, and it cost like $1,000.
I think it was $999 was the top when the App Store came out, and somebody did that. And so it says, for example, they will have every 10 cents up to $10, every 50 cents between $10 and $50. They do also say that the developers will need special approval for the highest pricing levels.
So you and I can't make
we would have to be
Make Us Rich app.
Yeah.
That's just designed to make us rich.
I'm sure it would have to be something, very enterprisey or something like that to go up that. I think they're first rolling it out just in in-app purchases, which I think that could be good for, if you're playing Simpsons Tapped Out, and instead of spending $1 for some donuts, you can buy 2 donuts for 29 cents.
Yeah, that's true.
That kind of thing, I could see it. As far as the actual App Store, I don't know. I mean, there's always a race to the bottom on cost, and if you've got a lot of competition and everybody's at 99 cents and you can drop down to 29 cents and sell a lot more your app, I could see that. So we'll see how that goes along.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, and they also announced in a different realm, end-to-end encryption for iCloud data. Now, this is something people have been asking for a long time. So I believe Messages already had it, but they're adding in photos, notes, everything stronger encryption. And I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. There have been lots of law enforcement agencies who don't like that this is going to be encrypted. So that means they're on the right track of doing the right thing.
Yes.
That's always your little bellwether there.
Yeah.
Like, does the government hate it? Then I'm probably doing the right thing.
Yeah. I even put a link from Mac Rumors. The FBI calls end-to-end encryption deeply concerning as privacy groups hail Apple's advanced data protection as a victory for users.
How are we going to steal information from the common American, even though it's against the Constitution and the law?
Yes. So we'll see how that rolls out. They are dropping the plan for the CSAM scanning, which I was going to say, if you don't know what CSAM is, Google it, but I don't think you should Google it. Just know it's stuff that's not good. We talked about that many moons ago when they first announced it, but they're just not figuring out a good way to do that the right way, so it's probably for the better.
Yeah.
And this one, out of left field, they're adding karaoke or Apple Music Sing to Apple Music.
Yes, I'm actually excited about this. I'm not going to install the beta back on my devices to try it out, but it's karaoke. It's a special volume switch that will turn down the vocals, and you could even have the ability to leave background vocals in, but turn down the main vocal so that you can be the star of the show, or turn down all vocals if you and your friends want to do karaoke to a song. And of course, it's going to be a limited number of songs at first, and I'm sure the library will grow.
Yeah. I
was looking at lyrics the other day and noticed there are quite a few that in obscure genres, a cappella music, which I love to listen to and sing. The lyrics are not correct.
Weird.
I mean, and some of the ones that are correct were like the spellings were wrong. It was weird. So I don't know where they're scraping this lyric information from, but some of it's not very good.
I might have mentioned it before, but I have a cousin who in Portland, he had a job. His full-time job was doing Apple Music lyrics.
Well, is he dyslexic? Because, man,
so I don't know if they were just starting, they probably start at the most popular and go down. But yeah, Chelsea actually looked into doing it for a while, and you just listened to the songs and looked at what they had for the lyrics and made corrections. So I'm sure, that was couple years ago, so that was all probably part of the plan to get this eventually. And the DJ software I use, they built in, I think last year, the ability to do something similar where you can just tune out the vocals automatically real time, or turn up the vocals and turn down the music. So this technology, Apple didn't invent it, but to build it right all into the Apple Music service.
It's pretty cool.
And it'll work on your Apple TV too. So you can actually have karaoke party in. Well, if there's two sets of vocals, they'll split it on the screen.
Yeah, very interesting. Like I said, I'm very interested in trying it out, but I know that those who live with me and who are around me won't really be interested in this. And when I start using it, they'll probably go to a different room.
Yes, they will. And definitely going to put a damper on the karaoke machine sales, which have been very popular, but it was always hard to find the right CDs and have everything. And I thought about getting into karaoke with my DJing at one point, and I was like, this is too confusing. So
you should do it.
Yes.
And of course, you have to be the guy. You have to go out and perform in front of the people. I did it my way, and now everybody sign up.
Yes. You have to be a good KJ. You've really got to be able to go for it. I have had in the past on a couple weddings that I was going to DJ. They've asked, "Well, do you have the ability to do karaoke?" And I said, "I probably could, but you probably don't want it for your wedding because Aunt Edna is going to pick the worst songs and have the worst voice and hog the whole thing, and it's not going to be what you want in the end."
You think it's a good idea,
Yes.
but then it happens.
Yeah, exactly. And the last item, they are expanding the AirDrop 10-minute limit for everyone from China to everywhere. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bummed on this because it's just easy. Like I DJ'd a Christmas party on Saturday and I was going to AirDrop some photos. But if somebody was AirDropping me photos and I didn't have mine, I like the ease of just leaving it on. And as I talked about last week, it really hasn't been an issue, but it probably does make sense in the long run.
Yeah, probably should have been that way from the beginning. So it's one of those things, did Apple cave to pressure from China?
Yeah.
And it's more like, well, China alerted them to a change that should have been there all along, even though it benefits the Chinese government, which
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of.
No, I am, but yeah.
Well, we know that about you.
Yes. And you're going to be a big fan of this one, Dave. Google search bringing continuous scrolling to desktop.
Oh, boy.
You were just saying last week how much you hate continuous scrolling websites.
Yes, they just go on forever, and it's like, we're out of content. Nope, we'll get content from junk websites and throw it down here.
Yes, and I actually tried it out on notpics.com, and I said, you know what? Nope, I'm going back to pagination.
Pagination. Yeah, I mean, well, with something with like Notpics, there is a bottom.
Yeah.
It will get to the bottom, and I don't really mind it for stuff like that, but it's the news sites where, well, there's always going to be news somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll get it from our sister site, and we'll get it. Yeah. So it's, it's not evil. I just don't prefer it.
Yes. And this next one, it's been a long time since we've called one of these out, but I'm calling this not news. It's a big New Yorker article, and the summary that I saw of it, it's not here in the article, but it was talking about the overall gist of this long article is that there's a lot of musicians that are on TikTok that get a lot of followers, but they don't make a lot of money. There's also a lot of old school musicians that don't like TikTok. It's like, yes, like what, we had to write an article on this?
Yeah, I hope we didn't pay money researching this.
Exactly. It's probably a $2 billion grant to look into this, but they talk through some of the stories, and it's like, yeah, the chance that you're going to make money on TikTok is not great. And if you're Metallica, you're probably not a big fan of TikTok.
Yeah.
Like,
breaking news, water is wet.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, New Yorker. And
uh-oh,
Ooh.
black lung. He's finally died from it. Oh, all that mining when you were a child.
It's the black lung pops.
The coal mines of Tualatin.
Yes. Well, the next one we're going to finish off. It's not necessarily a security and privacy story, but it's an interesting analysis from the Register talking about in China, they use a lot of industrial robots. I mean, they're becoming more commonplace everywhere, but China's really kind of been the leader on that. And the headline, industrial robots in China push people out of jobs, slash wages.
Again, water is wet.
Yes, exactly. Exposed to droids, symptoms may include indifference, unemployment, lower pay, along with a bit of depopulation. Woohoo!
I don't get the depopulation part. Are the droids killing people?
I don't know that. I think I was reading through some of it, and they were talking about just how people are like less happy, even on top of the other issues, that there's just kind of this general, and maybe they won't need as many people over in China. So it says here, looking at the impact of robot exposure on families, the researchers assert they saw no evidence of any effect on marital behavior. However, they find that robot exposure, this could go one of two ways, leads to a small decline in the number of children, negative 1.2%.
Well, I mean, China's population has been declining. I don't know that exposure to robots is the largest.
Robot exposure. We've got a show title.
Maybe it has some bearing, but it seems like the government limiting families to the one-child policy had something to do with that.
Yes. Then it goes on to say, what's more, robot exposure increased family time invested in education for children, plus 10%, and investment in kids after school in extracurricular activities, plus 24%. So there's more robots, you work less, you make less, and you get to spend more time with your family. Perfect.
For people who hate their family, this is a terrible thing.
Yes. So I just thought it was kind of interesting to see we're afraid of the robots kind of story, especially from somebody like the Register.
Yeah, this seems like this is like a 20-year-old story.
Yes, indeed.
We've been in the middle of this for quite some time.
Yeah. Well, let us move on to our bonus odd take. I think Todd, friend of the show, actually originally shared this with us. I don't think we brought this up on the show, though. I think it was just in text messages. But it is found at Neal.fun, and it's the Asteroid launcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried this the first time he sent it to us, and I killed like 600,000 people or something like that. But what you do is you go to this map, and there's a little feature on the side that you can control the diameter, speed, and impact angle of an asteroid. And you pick an impact location. Let's see here. I'm gonna pick my hometown. I mean, I don't want people going there and messing with my family, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I was born and raised near Weston, Kansas. Weskan.
Let's give the address of your childhood home so it can become a tourist destination.
Yeah, I could give it to you. I still have it memorized. But so here we are, and man, I'm zooming in. I still don't see it. I don't see it. It's on the map, but it is not labeled. So I'm going to go with an approximation of where it might be located. So I'm going to click there. Let's do I'm just going to do a small 800-foot asteroid with a speed of 47,000 miles per hour, and a 45-degree angle is a pretty good angle. As far as angles go, that's a good angle.
Yeah. And
I'm going to launch. I just want to see what happens. Boom. There's a fun animation for me to watch my hometown be obliterated. The crater is 3.5 miles wide. The town is about 1/8 of a mile wide. So, yeah, that's a pretty significant impact. And this is the best. An estimated 4 people would have been vaporized. Oh, boy.
Sounds about right.
4
Must
people.
be a Sunday. Everybody was at church in the next town.
There's more than 4 people who live
Well,
right
if
there.
you look down on the thing, it will tell you the fireball. So like I picked a place out in East Nevada. It said 2 people would die, but then 2,400 from the fireball.
Yeah, you know what? I am mistaken. My hometown is there. I was in the wrong spot. So I was in the middle of the country somewhere. So I'm going to do the exact same scenario. Let's just see what it does. Oh, here we go. This is more realistic. 73 people.
There we go.
And where's the fireball thing? Oh.
So if you scroll down, it does the crater, the fireball, the shockwave,
that's terrifying.
the wind speed.
818 people died from the fireball.
And then how about from the shockwave?
It was 240 decibels, which is pretty loud.
Yeah.
An estimated 74 people would die from that.
And then even more people will die from the wind speed.
Yeah, 981.
earthquake.
Holy cow. Who would have thought that the wind speed would
So
do
many
that?
factors. It's not just the rock that gets you.
And then the earthquake that would accompany this killed another 6 people.
Wow.
And you could feel it 83 miles away.
Yes. Yes. So a very useful website if we're going to be hit by asteroids. You can do some quick calculations to see what would happen. But one of those just fun, quirky, weird sites, and maybe take out some of your frustrations with the football team that just beat your team yesterday, or whatever the case might be with Neal.fun's Asteroid launcher.
Very cool.
Yes, he was the same one that did the days since incident that we talked about probably a couple months ago. He's got several of these little fun sites, so we might see Neal.fun again.
Yes.
And you know what else we'll see again? Our picks of the week.
I've been trialing this product and haven't really spoke to anyone on the show about it. Of course, you know about this, but I trialed this Anker webcam. It's, to be specific, it's the Anker PowerCom C200 2K Mac webcam. It's Mac and PC. It's both. But anyway, this webcam, the only reason I purchased it is because it was on sale for like $40. Is normally like $70. I'm like, $40. that's my price to move on this, because I've been wanting a different webcam for quite a while. The built-in one to my 2019, 2020 MacBook Pro is just atrocious. It's just awful. Apple, you should be ashamed of yourself, how terrible it is. So it does make it better. It has a couple flaws, like the overexposure thing is an issue. Like it only dials down a little bit. You kind of have to keep your lighting relatively low or it gets overexposed, which is crazy. The autofocus works pretty good.
Yeah.
The color temperature needs to be adjusted, but there's an accompanying app that gives you the ability to change the angle, so a wider angle or a more narrow angle. Color temperature, as I mentioned, you can change the focus. You can make it fixed focus if you want. So maybe you want to pick one of these up and point it straight at your desk, and it can be through your fancy switcher, switch to your desk cam that's fixed focused on your table if you're doing a DIY type project that you want to share with people. Anyway, for $40, it's really quite good.
Yeah.
And at 2K, it's a little bit better than 1080p. There you go. It's a little bit sharper, and it's way sharper than any of the Mac webcams that have been in laptops from about 2021 on back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you use, as an alternative, a photography camera.
Yes.
Which is out of reach for most people. But for $49 or $39, this is very attainable.
Yes, indeed. Very nice. Well, my pick of the week, this is a repick. We've talked about these several times in the past, but with Christmas coming up, if you've got a photographer or gadget hound in your life and are looking for maybe a stocking stuffer, what I recently purchased was the PNY 64 gigabyte Elite X Class 10U3V30 microSDXC flash memory card 3-pack. So, and then it has a bunch of other letters and numbers that nobody knows. But this is a 3-pack of micro SD cards.
What's the capacity?
They're 64 gigabytes.
Each.
So,
yeah.
Yes.
It's not total.
No, 64 gigabyte each. I've got, various cameras, my Canon camera, and other items that take SD cards in it. I've had a couple that I've loaned out that haven't come back, and it's like, you know what? I really need some extra SD cards around. So I picked this up. So there's a couple brands. There's a million brands on Amazon. I've used PNY in the past. Samsung makes good ones. Who are some of the other SD card makers, Dave? Can you think of any of the other?
SanDisk is one. That's
SanDisk,
a popular
Lexar.
one.
So look for the better brands. But Dave, do you have any guesses what I would have paid for this 3-pack?
I do have a guess. A 3-pack of 64 gigabyte micro SD cards is probably going to be around $24.
Well, it could be. It was only $17.99.
I was going to guess 20, but I'm like, nah, they're usually a little more than that.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where the price just keeps coming down. You can get huge capacity. Some of the devices I have won't really work above 64 gigabyte, and that's usually enough, but you can get 128 gigabyte, just a single one, for $17, 256 gigabyte for $30. So the prices have come down, but I would say look for one of the more name brand ones, because it looks like, there
are scams out there.
Yeah, Gigastone XLR8, and they might work just fine, but with Axe memory.
Read the reviews. What they do a lot of time is they reprogram them, and they say they're 128 gigabytes or whatever, and that's what the computer will show, but they really are like a 16 gigabyte. And you go to copy a file on there, and it says error, and then you reformat it, and it's like 16 gigs? What in the world? So if you find an incredibly large SD card for a very cheap price, don't buy it. It's a scam.
Yes, and they do have... I clicked on a 1 terabyte one from PNY, but then it took me to the 256. They've got a 512 for $50. So if you've got a device like my Wyze outdoor cameras, take an SD card. The SD cards are still a thing.
They work well. They're not the fastest thing, but they are designed for photography, so they have to be.
Yes.
Most of them are fast enough to record like 4K video.
Yes. Most of them are now, and there's the classes and the U's, and there's all these codes. And Dave, you and I have tried to figure out all of this stuff. You can Google it to try to figure out what you want, but
it's impossible. Just read their marketing thing. If it says it's for 4K video, then it'll probably work.
Like this one says it's a Class 10 U3 performance for the most intense applications, including 4K Ultra HD video and burst mode shooting. So. Yeah. And they are very highly rated. So I will have a link in the show notes, but I'll also have a link over at notpix.com.
Oh, yes.
And we did get our first review for the contest this week. You have till the end of the week to go leave a review on a product you've used
Let me guess, it was Wes.
You guessed right, but I'm not going to read the review. I'm going to tell the listeners, go over to notpix.com and find his 5-star review for one of his favorite apps that he uses daily. But yeah, go over there, and even if you're not looking for one of our picks of the week because you've already bought them all diligently, it would be really helpful if you went there and clicked on the Amazon link at the top. That is an affiliate link, and it'll give us a little kickback, get us into their system.
Now, I don't want to make anyone feel guilty, but if you've ever been named a friend of the show, then you should probably go do that.
Yes.
There might be consequences.
Yes, unless you're Todd, who refuses to shop on Amazon.
Well, he might be able to get his iPod Shuffle to navigate to the website with this new find content on. He can do it through audio since there's no screen.
Very nice. Very cool. Well, with that, we will wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Share it with a friend. I almost forgot, Dave.
Okay.
I almost forgot.
Man, you got me. I got whiplash from that.
Yes. I tried out the Chat GPT that we were talking about last week.
Really?
The automated, and I was trying some different things, and I think the data set it has is like a couple years old, so it won't comment on like current things. And then I was like, tell me a story about Tim Cook, and it won't do like opinions or I think I tried like how would Yoda talk about one backup is none backup, and it's like, well, Yoda's a fictional character and we're not going to put words in his mouth. But I did this one to wrap up our podcast. I asked for, give me a good outro to a tech podcast, and this is what I received.
I'm very interested.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Tech Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and learned something new. Remember to back up your data, stay up to date on the latest tech news, and continue to be curious about the amazing world of technology. Until next time, goodbye and happy computing.
Why do we even exist?
I don't know. So yeah, Chat GPT, I saw today their servers were a little overloaded because just so many people are using it, but I was playing with it the other night, and it's pretty impressive. So
as they say, happy computing,
and get out there and tech better.
A computer didn't write that. A human wrote that. We should do one and just do a script and just follow it the whole show.
Yeah. Spill some water.
As one does.
I'm trying to count to 5 here, Dave.
Oh, sorry.